Flight directors, go for launch. T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We have one.
Vehicles reaching downrange. Max Q.
Booster engine cut off.
Stage separation.
Goose back burn startup.
The launch team is go for tower catch.
We are go for booster return.
Mechazilla has popped the booster.
It looks like we have lost a ship.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Starship Flight 8. So this is going to be the second attempt of Starship Flight 8. As you might know, it scrubbed Monday, and now we here are today, Thursday. So yeah, hopefully we can see this go up. Let me get the stream going up for y'all.
We were able to get through our prop load go no go just about 40 minutes ago, and we are loading liquid oxygen, liquid methane on both vehicles. Not tracking any vehicle problems, issues on either booster or ship. Weather is green right now. Winds at the pad are actually significantly lower than they are even just for us over here at the Star Factory. Just a couple mile difference makes a big change in those wind speeds.
We should be good.
And range is currently projected
everything's
to be go,
green, everything's go. Hopefully that lasts for another 25 minutes.
Now, let's take a couple of minutes to meet today's vehicle. Sitting there on the pad, it's the world's
Now, they did have a bunch of issues
consists of two stages. The ship, which has 6
yesterday,
Raptor engines, and
whenever they went to
which
stack
has
again,
Raptor engines.
they
both stages are fully reusable.
something happened with the hot stage clamp. A piece broke off, and then one of the chopstick skates, like on the side of the tower,
Starship we
came
refer
off.
to as Stage 0. That includes
So they had
the
to
towers. We've
fix
got
a
our
couple
second
things even
launch
before
tower
they could
stacked
get it
on the
even
left side
stacked
of your
after
screen
fixing
there,
the main
getting ready to
issue.
come online later this
They just
year.
had a bunch of other
It
things
also
come up.
applies to orbital
But
launch mounts, our quick disconnect systems,
yeah,
everything on board. Also, the
they should have
water-cooled
everything
flame deflector,
fixed.
which is right underneath
So everything
Starship.
should be clear
That's
and good
particularly cool
for
piece of
today.
engineering. It uses several 100,000 gallons of potable water to offset the pretty intense heat pressure coming out of those 33 Raptor engines at the bottom of the Super Heavy booster at the time of liftoff.
Now you
Yep.
mentioned engines.
Hopefully we get a
of
good
the
flight
6
today.
Raptor engines
Hopefully they
on the
meet
ship.
all
3 of
objectives
those are optimized
and milestones.
for sea level performance, and the other 3 for vacuum. Raptor vacuum. Or
Special
RVAC,
milestones
well,
in this
they
flight
just have a larger exhaust section and
do
expansion
include
nozzle to maximize efficiency in space, as there's no atmosphere
deploying
up there.
4
The ship as a
Starlink
whole is
dummy
designed for
satellites,
vertical takeoff
or
and landing on any hard surface.
like
The ship
little
itself
fake
has 4
satellites
flaps
almost.
that are used to control
So
its attitude and enable precision landing.
they can
during
actually test
subsonic
the
flight.
the
And then
deploy
for full
of the
reusability, ship has to
Starlinks.
survive re-entry not
And
just once but multiple times. It does
Also
that by
the
using that heat
in-flight
shield, which is composed
relight
those
of a
thousands
Raptor engine in
hexagonal
space.
ceramic tiles, which can insulate the vehicle during re-entry, temperatures spiking up to about
And
2600
also a bunch of
degrees Fahrenheit
missing
in some
tiles
spots,
on the ship,
and
so they can
a rapidly reusable heat shield
increase
has never been flown on
heat
any
shield
vehicle in
reliability
history, so continuously
redundancy,
improving the one we have Starship is still a key
for
focus
re-entry.
of our flight test campaign.
And of course, in between our first and second stages is our hot stage. Hot staging is when the second stage engines ignite while still attached to
But yeah,
the first stage.
I'm pumped. I'm hoping we get a good flight, and
There you can actually see a
I'm
video
praying
of
nothing
our previous
happens,
hot staging
that
maneuver.
nothing
but
bad
executed
happens.
on a previous flight.
So.
And how the ship's engines light while it's still ignited while the booster's engines are still firing. Basically, the rocket never stops accelerating, which makes it more efficient than traditional stage separation.
And then after we launch the booster, we also have to catch the booster. And we do that by using the 2 robotic arms, the same ones that lift Starship onto Super Heavy before we launch. They also catch the booster when it returns. It means we don't have to have any landing legs in the booster. That's a lighter booster. It means we can put more payload, more stuff going to space.
Thousands of criteria must be met before the booster can return and be caught. It requires a healthy systems and manual commanding from the flight director.
And just like on our previous flights, if that command's not sent before the end of the boost back,
And I'm hoping on this flight we get
checks running in the background,
we get views from the actual little stump, the little dummy Starlinks of after they deploy of the ship, like looking back at it. If they do that, it would look amazing, and I wouldn't doubt they did.
When it comes to
So,
ensuring the safety of
it's
the public
SpaceX,
and our
so
team,
you never know.
and the booster return will only take place if those thousands of conditions are right. So as the clock continues to tick down to launch, let's say hello to Chris, who's once again posted up in Hawthorne. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, Kate and Dan, and welcome everyone to Hawthorne, California. As you can hear,
Chris.
as you can see, the crowd is
Let's go.
gathering. Excitement is really building here for Starship's 8th flight today. And speaking of flight, let's talk about the Raptor engines, which have quite a workout ahead of them today. Now, our Raptor engines are designed and manufactured right here in Hawthorne, and they have certainly accomplished some impressive things already. They've powered Starship in its first few flights around Earth, and they've helped bring 2 Super Heavy boosters back for a catch by the Mechazilla system at the launch site. But here at SpaceX, we're always looking to improve our designs, and we do this by using something that we call the algorithm. Now, for Raptor, the algorithm has helped us question the requirements for the engine, find the parts that we don't need, and then optimize the design for manufacturability and reuse. This allows us to simplify designs and drives us toward
as
that
per
rapid,
usual,
reliable
if
reuse.
anybody
And as you can see on your screen here, it is
watching has
definitely
any
what we have
questions,
done with the
comments,
Raptor engine.
like that,
Look at that
I'll be glad
beautiful
to
family
answer
photo.
them.
You can really see how Raptor 3
Anything
is an
pertaining to
unprecedented
Starship,
step forward in design.
I'll
it
answer.
eliminates the parts we don't need. It moves a lot of stuff inside the engine. And one thing that it also allows us to do is to delete the heavy engine heat shields that are used.
So
on
that
the
way
current
we're all
version
on
of
the
Raptor today.
same page.
And what that means is that when we switch to the Raptor Raptor 3 engine later this year, we'll be able to save about a metric ton of mass per engine. And when you multiply that by 39 or more engines, that's a lot of mass. And that mass savings actually helps us increase Starship's efficiency and the amount of payload that we're able to deliver to space and to Mars with Starship. But before we get to Mars, we still have a lot of important and critical development work to do. And it's flight tests like today's that help us do just that. Needless to say, the Raptor teams here in Hawthorne are very excited for today's flight and to see their hard work fly, just like all of our Starship teams are today for Flight 8. So Dan and Kate.
Yeah, I predicted this like months ago that they were going to be streaming the next flight inside of the new 8 headquarters or office building in Starbase.
Things that we learned from our last Starship mission,
which is essentially
in
Star
January,
Factory.
Flight 7 of Starship generated lots of important data.
I had a
That
feeling,
data led us to
and I was
change some
right.
of our pre-flight testing for today's flight. A major find from
got a nice
Flight
view
7
over there.
was the detection of a harmonic response that was much stronger during flight than anything we had seen during testing.
That's right. Rocket engines create incredible amount of noise, vibration that can pass through every component in the rocket itself. Flight 7, we saw those vibrations at a specific frequency. They were also strong in a strong enough amplitude that it was placing a lot of extra stress on some of Starship's propulsion system, and that's what most likely led to propellant leaks that then cascaded into
we don't get
fires,
psyched
ultimately
this
our loss of
time.
contact with the ship.
Like Dan
As
said,
part of our investigation,
psych
our team took this
after it
ship,
passed
this
the
flight
40-second
ship,
hold
through a
and
60-second static fire, which was 10
duked
times
everyone
longer
out.
than any previous static fire.
It's not his fault, but
The test cycled through throttle levels to recreate different conditions seen within the propulsion system during flight. You can see that on your screen now. We also tested hardware changes on fuel feed lines to Raptor's vacuum engines.
The additional data we got from this test specifically led to some new hardware that's installed in the RVAC fuel feed lines, which are also unique to this upgraded version of ship. Those feed lines look like large straws. They run through the oxygen tank, and those are delivering fuel directly to those vacuum engines. The new hardware was successful in significantly lowering the strength of that harmonic resonance and relieving the extra stress on the prop system. And then just in addition to new hardware, we made a couple of operational tweaks, adjusting things like the temperature of the propellant as it's being fed to the engines, also changing the throttle level that we're setting those engines at on ascent.
We also looked at where fires broke out in the attic, which is the unpressurized space between the bottom of the ship's liquid oxygen tank and the engine heat shields. Fires here resulted in loss of ship on flights 2 and 7, so we took steps to make it more resilient to leaks. We added a hefty purge system that uses gaseous nitrogen. Similar to the carbon dioxide system on the booster, it floods the zone with an inert gas to help prevent a fire.
Yeah, we also increased the attic's just natural fire defense. We added some more vent holes that helps to keep that attic pressure close to vacuum.
T-minus 16
as
minutes.
Starship flies into space, makes it harder
30
for a fire
seconds.
to ever exist. And then on the next generation ship, we're going to do the best thing possible and just start deleting some parts.
Yeah,
about
the best
halfway
part
through
is
propellant
no part.
loading.
The next generation of ship is going to use Raptor 3 engines, which are going to reduce that attic volume, and they're also going to eliminate most of the joints on the engines themselves that can leak into the space.
In the end, these changes represent the core of our test program. We fly hardware in a real-world environment, learn from the data, make updates, and fly again.
And then today we're going to be attempting to do everything that we didn't get to do on Flight 7. So we're still looking to get our first re-entry with the upgraded ship. While we're going to be
I want to see re-entry with those new flaps. That would be amazing.
So everything we've got ahead of us, as always, starts with liftoff, and that's super heavy, igniting those 33 Raptor engines, lifting off from the pad here at Starbase for that initial ascent. Those all 33 will burn for the first roughly 2 minutes before we get into hot staging.
For hot staging, the second stage will ignite its engines while still attached to the first stage. That will create that stage separation. The booster will perform a flip maneuver and head on back to the launch site here just behind us. Then we will hopefully see the third ever tower catch by the launch tower.
Meanwhile, ship completes its ascent burn, gets into its suborbital trajectory. We've got some extra things we're going to do in space, like deploy those Starlink simulators. Also going to be relighting one of the Raptor engines, one of the sea-level engines, before we get into re-entry.
Yeah, that re-entry phase will test multiple experiments, including missing heat shield tiles, metallic tiles, and loading the vehicle's flaps. The ship will then perform a flip maneuver and hopefully achieve a soft water landing as we have seen before. We've got some buoy cams stationed out there to give us great daylight views of that splashdown in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, it's a lot, but again, we're really focused on finding what are the real world limits of Starship. We're doing it in this very remote area to find those limits before we get ready to return ship to the launch site and eventually catch it. And a lot of the upgrades we made to get to this version of ship are going to enable that.
Yeah, man, that's going to be exciting to see ship.
Okay.
Now, ship
All
7
Raptors are chilling down.
To add more capability to Starship, and we've carried
Confirmed by SpaceX.
To test on Flight 8 today. First, the forward flaps got a redesign. They have shrunk and shifted away from the ship's belly or the heat shield. You can see that on your screen there. This new position will reduce their exposure to heating during re-entry. We've also extended the length of Starship, and we've done this by 2 meters. This additional height gives us about 25% more propellant volume, which will aid in future longer duration missions. We also implemented propulsion upgrades such as new fuel feed line system for the Raptor vacuum engines, as well as vacuum jacketing of feed lines and an improved propulsion avionics module.
And you've heard us talk, a lot of the experiments we're running today are focused on re-entry. We're intentionally removing a whole bunch of tiles.
All those missing tiles.
This missing tile
metallic tiles.
In critical areas
all
this
that.
time.
Even okay, so even if they lose a tile, there's still a backup ablative material behind the tile. What that means is there's essentially a backup blanket of thermal protection behind those tiles. That allows
also underwent a complete redesign with 4 upgraded
for more redundancy with tile loss during re-entry.
Those now combine Starlink navigation and radio frequency as well as communications into a single unit. And non-structural versions of the ship's catch fittings have been installed to test thermal performance, i.e. do they survive re-entry, along with smoothed and tapered edge on the tile line to address
smooth and tapered edge.
Saw on Flight 6.
And we've got some radar sensors on the tower catch arms again, as we're just looking at different ways to measure distance between the arms and a vehicle. These ones are actually protected by kind of a modified version of our heat shield tiles. Catching the ship's going to be a little different from catching a booster. One of the key things is it's going to do that flip right before its landing burn that rapidly reorients your antennas, which that's
going to be interesting to see.
So those extra sensors
like
on the ground side,
that flip just before the tower is going to be like crazy. And I'm hoping I get to witness it in person one day.
Simulators. They are similar in size to our next generation Starlink satellites.
With the frequency they want to launch at, more than likely is going to happen at one point or another.
Which will help further Starlink's impact in the coming years as we work to expand access to high-speed internet all around the world.
Those are those dummy Starlinks.
Launch is planned to add about 60 terabits per second of capacity to the Starlink network. To give you some perspective, that's about 20 times the capacity we're adding right now with every V2 mini launch on a Falcon 9. Those Starlink simulators that we're going to deploy are on the same suborbital trajectory as Starship itself. They're expected to demise upon entry. Starship's trajectory looks super similar to our last couple of flights. Splashdown is targeted for the Indian Ocean.
So hopefully we get 4 of those.
Again, we are planning to relay
that's what it is.
one Raptor engine
this
while
flight.
in space. That just helps us get data on the in-space burns and show Starship.
So hopefully today we get our first Starship payload
Starlink,
deployment.
One of the hallmarks of these Starship missions
we
are
do.
the incredible views that we get throughout flight, and especially during re-entry, as evidenced by many a phone and desktop background around here. Yeah. Every day, we're working to expand the Starlink network both on Earth and in space. For how this all connects us to the big mission, let's head back to Chris.
Make sure this is
up to date. Starship may know that Starlink enables us to bring you lots of unprecedented views, both from space and here on Earth. Starlink is the world's largest satellite constellation operating in low Earth orbit today to deliver high-speed, low-latency broadband internet and connectivity, specifically for missions like Starship today. And as you can see on your screen, Starlink brings us many other views because of its capabilities. In addition to the dozens of cameras on Starship itself, we have mobile camera kits with Starlink deployed in
Hopefully
the
we
Indian
get
Ocean,
large
which is what you're
pieces of the
seeing some
ship,
footage of right
if
now
not
on
the
your
entire
screen from
ship,
the previous mission. You'll notice the Starlink mini dish in the foreground here as
back
Starship
to
lands in the
the
background.
launch
Just
site,
what an image that captured
after they
from an earlier flight.
get it
Now,
out of
Starlink
the ocean.
also connects our aerial
Which
and cinematography units on the ground at Starbase,
we've
which will
seen
help us deliver the incredible
things
drone
in
shots leading up to
preparation
launch
for
today. And here on your
that.
screen, you can actually see us moving the flaps, preparing Starship
There's
for
some,
flight, making
flap
sure
testing
all
there.
of the aero surfaces that need to move during flight can do
Just
so
look how
in the way
sleek
that
and
we need
thin
them to.
those flaps are.
Now, on Starship
Well, they're not
itself,
thin, but they're
Starlink will
thinner
enable Starship today to stream
than
more than 120 megabits
previously.
per second of real-time high-definition
Ooh.
video and
We
telemetry.
got our
in
flap
every
cam
phase of
there.
flight, including views like you're seeing right now of those flaps moving. This not only helps
That's a
provide
aft
those views,
flap
but
cam.
it also helps give our engineers an incredible amount of data to help us rapidly and iterate across all parts of the system as we move through our development program. And all of the streaming data today will definitely be put to good use with the more than 30 cameras on the vehicle for flight. But providing epic views is
We
sort of
are
a side
T-minus
quest for
8 minutes and
Starlink.
50
Its main
seconds
job is
till
obviously to
launch.
provide internet access for people around the world, many of whom who have never had connectivity before. Now, today, Starlink serves more than 125 countries, territories, and
Now,
other markets with over 5
if you didn't
million
know,
active customers and
Intuitive
counting.
Machines
And there are
IM2,
just so many inspiring ways that people are using
their
Starlink
Nova C,
all around the
Athena,
world and in space. And
lunar
hopefully
lander,
today, in a few minutes, everyone will get to see
attempted
more
a
inspiration
landing
about
on
what
the
our
lunar
future in
surface
space looks like. And Dan and Kate,
at like
how are
11
we looking
a.m.
for Starship's
today,
flight
Central.
Thanks, Chris.
Unfortunately,
we are looking forward to those views as well. In fact,
it
we're
flipped
getting ready to
over
launch
again.
Starship in just
So
over 8
it was
minutes.
supposed to land upright like
now,
that.
as for a couple status
Fell
updates,
over
working no major
somehow.
issues on the vehicle. Range is emerald green, you could say.
So
Everything looks
that
great
makes
in terms
two
of the sea and airspace here,
Intuitive
in the Gulf
Machines
of
lunar
America,
landers
as well as in the Indian
that have
Ocean. Of course,
now
we wanna make
landed
sure
sideways
both
on the
areas
lunar
are
surface.
clear, as the ship will be
Hopefully,
splashing down in the Indian Ocean while
they,
the boosters can be coming back to us.
They
The launch
fixed that
site
third
just a
time
couple
around.
miles
You know,
behind
third
Dan
time's
and
the
I.
charm.
Weather, you could call it a silver lining that we had to delay from Monday because holy moly, visibility is 1,000 times better today,
Yes.
and it's going to make for some really great views. Now, leading up to
Visibility
today,
is 1,000 times better.
Later last night, flight controllers reported to their consoles earlier today the site was cleared and the range team was deployed.
That's right. And a lot of checkouts have happened just throughout the day, aligning our guidance, navigation, control, getting all the tanks ready for prop load.
Now, hopefully today we don't, like, hopefully we don't even have a T-minus 40 hold. Usually,
also includes getting all the ground support
for all
systems,
other flights,
checked out, ready to go,
except
chopsticks,
Flight
working
1,
made it, did their wiggle test
they haven't had
in
to
advance
do
of,
the
their
T-minus
upcoming
40 hold
catch opportunity.
up until
as I just
the
said,
Flight
prop load's
8
ongoing. We've got
first attempt.
a little over about 4 minutes left until, or about 4 minutes. What's 7 minus 4? 4 minutes until we get to closeouts on ship and on booster. We did just hear that the range did pull again green. So we're not tracking any issues right now. Bottom line, things are looking great for launch at the top of our window at 5:30 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, very exciting. Now, once again, we are attempting to catch the booster at the launch tower. If that happens today, it will be the third ever booster catch. This is an aspect that I really enjoy, and it's how the vehicle announces that it is back.
It lets you know.
Oh yeah, this comes in an audible sonic boom in the area around the return location.
Yeah, basically, like just as soon as it makes contact with the chopsticks, that sonic boom hits you at South
Sonic
Padre.
booms are unique to vehicles returning from space. They're kind of a hallmark of reusable systems like our Falcon 9 rocket and Falcon Heavy. General impact to those in the surrounding area is that brief thunder-like noise. I've been fortunate enough to be here for all of them so far. They definitely let you know the vehicle's coming. Here's a little bit about what it's like to experience it.
I mean, just look at it. It's just amazing. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
And as someone who grew up hearing those sonic booms as the shuttles landed in Florida, and now hearing them for Falcon and Starship as well, they really are something to experience. And when you hear them, you just know it's a spaceship telling everyone that it wants to be reused. Great sounds.
Yes.
So as you can
That's
hear,
perfect.
the room is
I love
getting
that.
excited here in Hawthorne. The crowd eager to
Yep.
see Starship
T-minus
fly,
40
as you can see.
or
Here. Now,
apologies,
behind me in our
T-minus
flight
4
control
minutes
room
and
here in
36
Hawthorne, you can
seconds.
see some of our folks on console. They're assisting the flight controllers in Starbase, keeping an eye on all of Starship's various systems, including its avionics and those Raptor engines we talked about a little bit earlier. So Dan and Kate, with 4 minutes, 20 seconds left on the clock, let's hit it back to you at Starbase and hopefully watch Starship lift off today.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Thanks so much, Chris. Now, if you're just joining us, we're now just about 4 minutes until the liftoff of the 8th test flight of Starship. As we reported earlier, range and weather are both very green, super green, if you will, and
Super
everything
green.
is looking good. Propellant loading continues to happen. We're going to be closing out very soon on both stages of Starship.
Yeah, we're almost fully fueled on our tanks. We're going to see that closeout coming in just about 30 seconds on ship. So that's both the main and the header tanks. And then about 30 seconds later on booster. Once prop
Now,
load is complete, we got
once
just
you
shy
get
of 1
both
million pounds of
stages,
liquid propellant. That's
first
liquid
and
oxygen,
second
liquid
stage,
methane on
returning
both
back to the launch
vehicles.
site,
All of our ground systems
that's
will
when
do
things really
what's
start to
called
get
pushbacks. We'll
interesting.
clear all those feed
Because
lines. We're not
you
continuously
got both
replenishing
booster
ship propellant
and
on board
ship
Starship. It's
coming
super
back.
heavy. That's why
And
we essentially have several
are
minutes
able to
where
be
we can hang out
reused.
at that T-minus
Something
40
that you
hold
just
point,
launched and
before
used,
we start to run
you
into
can then
issues
use
with
again,
temperatures, or just those LOX levels,
just
or
as long as you
that LOX
refuel
level on
it,
the booster is one of the main things that
which
we
is
watch.
incredible.
So,
Like, that's insane.
We're also going to
That's
do
what
a couple
Starship
of
is
final
doing,
checkouts. We'll do
and
one final one of
is
the
making the
thrust
cost
vector
to
control,
space
the TVCs on
a
the
lot
booster.
more
We'll
affordable.
see them hopefully do a little bit of a wiggle test.
Not only
The
for
first one
normal
comes at
people,
about a minute
for the
40
company,
seconds,
and
before launch, and then the last one comes right as
other
we pass that T-minus 40
satellite and other
again,
customers.
If we need to hold, which we held a couple of times on Monday,
It's making
we can do
space
so
more
at that
accessible
T-minus
to
40 second.
everyone.
We're not currently tracking any issues that would hold us there, but if we do run into that, we can hang out for
And
a
who
couple
knows?
minutes.
That would
You know,
be the point in the countdown.
could
as
be
we mentioned on
you,
Monday,
could be
that
me,
40
that
T-minus
one
40
day
second point is when
one
we
of us
can
might go
pause
to
the hold
space.
for final
Who knows?
checkouts or pressurizations if necessary. But once we pass that T-minus 40 second mark, a number of things are going to occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems will come up to flight pressure. The
Who
ship
knows?
goes to internal power, and after that, the quick disconnect or QD arm lockout.
Only
That's
time will
removed in
tell.
preparation
Anyways.
for retraction shortly after T0. Once we pass T-minus 40 seconds, as
T-minus
we saw on Monday,
2 minutes?
we had the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to that T-minus 40 second mark and hold there to assess what happened and if we're able to proceed to T0.
And like we said, that we can hang out at T-minus 40 for several minutes.
Yes, but
before we
hopefully
start
hopefully
running
this
into
flight
some-
they don't.
Just some limits, essentially.
Unless, of
on
course, an
our
issue pops up
propellant
and
on
they
board.
have to.
There are a couple of other things, like if we pass the T-minus 10 second point, and the water starts to flow in that flame deflector, and we scrub, that's automatic scrub for the day. Oh, there's our TVC, our thrust vector control checkouts. Got a little bit
TVC
of a wiggle
checkouts.
there, on those inner Raptor engines, those 13 inner ones, which are going to be used for that boost back burn and the landing burn. So cool to see those.
Yeah, I love that shot. We don't have that on Falcon, and it's just so cool
Oh
to
my
see
gosh. All right.
really the business
T-minus
end
1
of
minute.
the super heavy booster.
I'm ready to pause my timer just in case they do hold at T-minus 40.
10 seconds away from that T-minus 40 hold. We'll see.
Okay, looks like they are holding.
All right, we are going to hold at T-minus 40. We're watching the temperatures on the ship right now for the ship fuel. Sounds like they're working through that. We might be able to release that hold shortly.
Come on.
All right, sounds like we're going to be able to reset those holds, not tracking any other holds. And clock is rolling.
Clock is rolling. Clock is rolling.
And the clock is rolling once again. We're now T-minus 30 seconds till the liftoff of the 8th flight of Starship.
All right.
Flight Director Joe Schleicher today is go for launch.
Go for launch.
Let's listen in as he takes us
T-minus 15, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Water deluge. Ignition, all 33 engines. Liftoff. Liftoff of Starship Flight 8 and Ship 34 and Booster 15. Wow, look at those views. She's in the air. Booster upper chamber pressure nominal. Come on.
All right, we're a little over 40 seconds. A little over 40 seconds into the flight. We are seeing 33 out of 33.
Booster and ship power avionics telemetry. I can't even speak right now.
Boosters pushing
telemetry
us
is nominal.
range over the Gulf. Next milestone coming up in just under 10 seconds is going to be max Q, that max aerodynamic pressure.
Maximum dynamic pressure.
Max Q.
Max Q. Call out for max Q. Still
Right, so
continuing
for
at the
max
power
Q,
of
that's
33
the
Raptor
heaviest
engines.
Stresses it's kind of seeing on the way up. Wow, that was
More than
pretty
twice the
incredible.
power of the
I'm still
Saturn
recovering.
V.
That was amazing. Beautiful views
We're at-
of the vehicle
oh,
on
my,
ascent,
Stream timer.
pitching downrange away
we're good now.
from the launch tower.
Next thing coming up is hot staging. So we're going to look for 6 engines to ignite on ship while we're
Yes.
still attached to the top of the booster. We'll see all but those 3 center engines shut down on booster.
Coming up on hot staging.
We're hearing the initial call that we are go for booster catch back here at
Okay.
the launch tower.
Good calls for booster catch.
Coming up
Everything
now
looking
on
green
hot
for that.
Staging. The ship's engines
Coming up on
will
hot
ignite
staging.
while still attached to the Super Heavy booster, and also while Super Heavy booster will still be under power itself. The clamps holding the 2 stages together are going to release. And Starship
Okay, I think-
second stage engines will
Yep,
be
Griffins. Yep. Booster, most engines.
Ship engine startup.
Ship engine startup, and we have hot stage separation.
Stage separation.
2 engines are out. 2 engines are out on booster.
Backburn startup.
We have 11 engines.
There we go. Ship engines, all 6 Raptors ignited. We're doing that boost back burn. Looks like we got 11 of the 13 that we command for
Call the
that,
booster
so
return.
that's going to start sending the booster back. We are still
Jeez, that
go
looked
for
violent.
booster return, even with 2
Okay.
Raptors out during that boost
Okay.
back. We can do a full duration one.
Okay.
But
chamber pushes nominal.
looks like we got a ship, 6 engines heading into space, and then we got a booster hopefully on our way back to
Ship
Starbase. How's everything going in Hawthorne, Chris?
Okay.
Everything's
Everything's
looking
fine.
Good. The crowd eagerly followed
Everything's
that ascent
okay.
and now watching the booster coming back. So as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen here, that is ship continuing. And that's a great view of ship continuing.
Ship
on its
avionics,
way
power
to
telemetry
space. They're
nominal. We have an
looking-
engine
that's
bay
inside
cam.
The camera, inside the aft skirt, looking at the Raptor vacuum and the sea level engines. The
Okay, I
sea-level
think
ones
we have
there in
a
the center of
booster,
your screen under our T+ spot. You can see our boost back burn. We're
Boost
down
back
to 3
burn
engines
shut
on
down.
the boost back burn. And you can see ship on the right-hand side of that telemetry with 6 engines lit, continuing its ascent to orbit.
Now,
already
last
over
time,
100 kilometers in altitude.
Last time there was an
The
engine
booster
out on
87
boostback,
kilometers in
but
altitude and
as it came back
continuing
down,
its
that
trek
engine
right now
restarted.
back
I want to
to
see
the landing
if
site
they
and
do it
catch
this
site.
time as well.
There's a- and we just heard a good
Boost back
call out
shutdown.
for boost back shutdown. The next thing we should see on our screen is the separation of the hot stage from the Super Heavy booster. We jettisoned that
Yes.
because we do not need
The
it
hot stage
for
ring,
the
it looks like we
landing,
have
but on future
good
iterations of the
separation.
Super Heavy, that hot stage ring will be incorporated into the booster, and we will get it back. But for today, you can see it on the right-hand side of your screen there.
Ship
just
looks to be
separating off
doing
from the
fine.
right-hand side of the booster. You can also see the booster doing its liquid oxygen dump there, which is exactly what we would expect for it to do as the booster gets itself configured for the landing here.
Yes.
Now, meanwhile, Starship will continue to coast after it reaches orbit for about 40 minutes or so, up to an altitude of 214 kilometers.
We got a
but
booster
still
coming
got
back
ways
down
to
towards
go
the
there.
launch site.
Currently accelerating past 7,500 kilometers per hour there in velocity. And just look at those great views of the booster coming back. The Gulf coastline there just looks absolutely gorgeous.
Starship's
Yes.
on a nominal trajectory.
And there
Starship
we
is
hear
on nominal trajectory. Look at the hot stage ring in the
trajectories all
ship or
around,
booster.
and,
Oh my
Dan and
gosh.
Kate, we're at 5
Look at
minutes,
that.
15 seconds here into the flight.
Wow.
Everything looking good for
Look
the
how
Super
clearly
Heavy
you can see
and
those
for
engines.
Starship today. What's
That's
it
so
like there
amazing.
at Starbase as we get ready to catch?
Yes. Yes, yes.
It was incredible, Chris, to be able to see the mock diamonds with my own eyes. That was amazing. We are standing by for return of the booster back to the launch tower. We have heard that we are go for the catch of the booster.
Yes. Okay, we're go for
Yeah,
booster
this
catch.
Coming from one of our long-range tracking cameras, we're able to see the hot
Hopefully
stage
they can get
separate
those
and
2
fly
engines
away.
back.
So coming up in just about
Even
30
if-
seconds,
even
we're
if they
going for
don't,
landing burn. We're gonna
it's still
burn
good.
Chamber pressures are
Those
nominal.
13 inner and middle ring engines.
Chamber pressures are
to turn
nominal.
on.
Look at the
13
plasma starting to
initially,
build
we
up in
bleed
that
off all
booster.
of that velocity as we're slowing down from supersonic speeds.
Yep,
Eventually
she's
moding
coming down.
to only 3 engines for that precision flight into the tower.
Right now, booster using its 4 hypersonic grid fins to help guide itself through this
Yep.
atmospheric entry back for its precision.
We're gonna be
precision
coming up
landing
on
at the launch site.
Coming up on
Once again,
engine,
we're gonna ignite
13
first
engine
the center 13 engines. We can see
ignition.
that coming up here
Okay, we have one engine out, one engine relit.
This is gonna
Down
go
to 3.
3 engines as the booster slows down for its landing.
Oh,
And we
okay,
just
here
heard
she
the
comes, here
sonic
she comes.
boom.
Come on. Get in there. Get in there. Come on.
What an
Come on,
incredible
baby.
sight to see these super heavy
Oh,
boosters
look how smooth it
glide
is, dude.
down into the chopstick arms once
Yes! Let's go. Booster 15 caught in the arms of the chopsticks, making SpaceX's 3rd
again. Wow,
super heavy catch.
that will never get old.
All right. We saw
Wow.
12 out of 13 light for that landing burn. Booster still able to make its way with that final precision burn.
Oh, it
on the
looks like
3
they caught it in a
engines
different
in for the
orientation
tower
this
catch.
time.
So
Look at
Booster
the
caught.
positioning
Meanwhile, keeping an eye
Like,
on ship. Still got 6 Raptors
in a different position.
burning.
It looks more
Those
over
are
to the
gonna
left.
Continue
All right,
for
ship is
about
continuing.
another
Looks
minute.
nominal.
Until we'll get to the Starship engine cutoff.
Is that a
Really
fire?
cool view. Again, a million shout outs to all of our avionics team who
Don't tell me
make
that's another
these
fire.
cameras possible for us. That's looking right down inside essentially the skirt area of ship, where you can see a pretty good view of all 6 Raptors, especially those 3 inner ones, one of which
Oh,
we're
no.
gonna hopefully relight
Oh,
a little
no.
bit later.
No. You're joking.
And we just saw some engines go out.
Oh, no.
It looks like we are losing attitude control of the ship.
No. Man, what the... You're joking.
FTS is saved.
FTS is saved.
So we're still getting video down from the ship. You can see we've lost several engines and we've lost attitude control of the vehicle.
Oh my gosh. There's still 2 Raptor engines. Raptor vacuum engines. Oh my gosh. What? Okay, we're... still
So
getting
we'll continue
video.
to stick with it.
For those of you that
Oh
have-
gosh.
For those of you that just recently joined
This
us,
is
we
terrible.
had a successful liftoff of the 8th test flight of Starship, followed by a successful stage separation. We saw the booster, actually, you can see it just behind us here. The booster had a successful catch back at the tower. Unfortunately, it seems as though we lost the attitude control of the ship. We are standing by as we listen in with the teams on the nets to understand what information we're able to provide you. We
So
will
ship
provide
is
that as soon as we
currently
are
spinning
able,
out of control.
but it's
It won't blow up
pretty incredible to take a moment and see
unless
the
it
booster just
takes
behind us.
itself apart.
Certainly
Yeah.
a different
But
view than last time.
And at this
the
point,
FTS
we've
has
essentially lost
saved,
contact with the ship.
so
We're
the
no longer
automated flight
receiving telemetry at this
termination
moment.
system
So we were
will
only
not blow it up
about 20
unless
seconds away or so from the end of that ship ascent burn. We saw
unless
several
it-
of the
it
engines
blows
start
itself
to cut
up.
out. Once you lose enough of those center engines, you're going to lose attitude control, and so we did see the ship.
it
start to
did
go
look like they
into a
had another
spin, and
fire
At this point, we have
in the aft
lost contact
section
with the ship. So
again.
we're going to listen in for a little bit. Just I think
This
it's
is-
pretty
this is
obvious
bad.
we're not going to continue the rest of the mission today.
For
but,
this to happen
just give us a couple
second
more
time in a
minutes.
row.
We'll bring you more information as it comes in.
Mission control there. Man, this is bad. Okay, I still see on some cameras there. It is still flipping around. So it hasn't. It doesn't look like it has blown up yet. What the heck, man? Another booster has been caught, though. Booster 15 did its job pretty well. It did good. It did get caught in a different position this time, which is interesting. I wonder if that's intentional. Okay, it looks like ship might have blown up. We might be getting on ground reports of ship blowing up. Just complete silence from SpaceX. I don't think we have any... Unless that was like a super large gas release.
All right, so coming back with you real quick. So can confirm we did lose contact with the ship. Unfortunately, this happened last time too, so we've got some practice at this now. We've got a lot of measures in place, like debris response areas where we coordinate very closely with air traffic control. We have a lot of measures put before we ever launch a rocket to make sure that we're keeping the public safe. Those worked last time, and they're actively in work right now. So just to recap real quick, everything we saw, we lifted off
Man.
right at the top of our window, essentially at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Booster was able to get us all the way up into space, made its way back here. It's sitting on the tower right behind us, our third ever catch. Starship ignited all 6 of its Raptor engines. It was just about 20 or 30 seconds away. We'll get exact times from the end of its ascent burn when we started to see some engines go out on ship. Eventually lost attitude control and then lost contact with the ship shortly after. So obviously a lot to go through, a lot to dig through. We're going to go right at it. The primary reason we do these flight tests is to learn. We have some more to learn about this vehicle, but we're going to be right back here in the not too distant future, and we're going to get a ship to space.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We fly to learn, and we're learning a lot.
So,
and as is the case with developmental programs such as the
no
Starship
ship catch,
program,
Flight 9.
progress isn't always linear. So at this
Safe
point,
to
we're
say,
going to
yeah.
close out our webcast for the day. But before we do, we'd like to give a shout out to our viewers, of course, as well as our partners, both here in here in Cameron County and around the world. Now, once we know more about the mission today, we'll provide you with updates on SpaceX.com as well as at SpaceX on X. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, that's a sure shame, dude. Man, Block. What the heck is version 2 doing? Well, like, what is it? I can't believe it. I really can't. I would have thought they fixed the issue, but another fire happened in the aft. I would have to guess for the same issue. So that would mean flight. They would have to do really exceptionally well, incredibly well on Flight 9, in order for them to even consider coming back to the launch site for Flight 10 to try and do a ship catch. So, yeah, it's a sure shame. Sure shame. But that's the thing with reiteration. I mean, you fail until you get it right. So, but another win for a booster. Hopefully, maybe next flight they refly a booster. Who knows? But I'm really hoping they just get the ship situation figured out. It's really looking sad for it. I don't know. But that's gonna be it. That's gonna be all I have for today. So. I'm going to see you guys later. So, should be, streaming for Flight 9. I don't know. I can't guarantee anything. But, it looks like there are views of ship breaking up north of Miami. Yeah. But hopefully, hopefully it gets better. Really sucks. Really sucks. Anyways, like I said, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna see y'all guys later. See y'all in the next one. Bye bye.